Hey there, CinnaBunny here. Nice to meet ya. Today, I'm looking at a wonderful game I found on Steam recently. Keen, the One Girl Army. Keen is a puzzle game, which starts off easy and gradually becomes tough. Keen has 10 levels, with a few bonus levels which I would suggest you do. Each level will have a challenge, whether to finish a level without taking damage, defeat all enemies, or to collect all Orbites. Orbites are purple balls of energy. Collectibles awarded throughout the levels and at the end of levels. Before we delve too deep though, I'll cover the 10 levels mentioned earlier and the story as we go through. If you would like to try out Keen, the One Girl Army for yourself, here is my one and only spoiler warning. We start as their hero, Kim. Kim is an impatient 8-year-old girl, born into a long line of warrior women who protect the village. Kim is the next in line to inherit the weapon wielded by generations upon generations. A family heirloom. I would probably class this as a bladed polearm, specifically a glaive or guandao, a type of Chinese polearm. Kim wears roller skates. This affects how she moves. Kim is controlled with the arrow keys. I haven't actually seen a game controlled with the arrow keys in a long time. It works really well actually. Given Kim wears roller skates, she will move in a straight line until colliding into an object, a wall, or an enemy. With her trusty weapon in hand, Kim has two ways to attack. The first is a moving slash. Given she moves so fast, if there's room behind an enemy, Kim will slice straight through said enemy like butter. This deals 2 damage. The second attack she has is a cross attack. This deals damage in a plus formation. All tiles directly next to Kim will receive this damage. The cross attack deals only 1 damage. You can actually combo these attacks together on select enemies that have more than 2 health, and enemies that wield a shield. Enemies will only move when you move. If you stand still for eternity, no enemies will make a move. It's good to let you think as quickly or as deeply as you want about your next move. I said earlier Keen is a puzzle game. Well, it is, and a tough one too. The first level is quite a nice introduction to the movement, mobility and combat, and is good training for planning ahead with moves. For the most part, the first half of the first level takes place in Grandma's dojo. This is her training camp. She hopes to train up Kim to become a fierce warrior. Kim, only being 8, is eager yet impatient to take on this role of the village warrior. In the second last room at the dojo, we can get an insight into the family history and the backstory of Kim and her grandma. The first area houses trophies from past generations, up to 500 years ago, where Kim's great-great-great-grandma had managed to form a declaration of peace, sweeping away evil from the island. However, that was 500 years ago, and she unfortunately passed on in the process. She did grant 5 centuries of peace, however. The second area is a family picture of Kim, her grandma, and her mother. Kim's mother hasn't been a part of her life since she was very young, having vanished for nearly 8 years. The final area here houses some backstory. Religious texts that the elders of the village would seem to be fond of, being the Book of Law. It states that existence implies non-existence. There is no being without its opposite, no chaos without order. Being a game is being played for the sake of itself. Don't fret too much about winning or losing. There's always next time. Solidity is an illusion. There is only data and the interpretation of data by consciousness. Kim wonders what it means, but overly is unsure. Kim emerges outside. Here we're met with the training enemies. These barrels with rake heads will bonk you for 1 damage. You have 10 health in total, so they're nice for training. After a puzzling bout in the park, we meet with a nice monk named Dwayne. Speaking to him will wake him from his concentration. Dwayne mentions that he senses a sinister presence looming over the village, and that corrupted code is spreading throughout the reality's matrix like a virus. A theme going on is the elders and some of the folks around speak of everything being a simulation, seeming to be the way that some see it. Kim doesn't seem to understand or really care. Down the road, we run into a farmer's market. Seeing Marchiolo mentions the existence of Orbites, giving more clarification onto what they are. He describes the presence of the Orbites as follows. An orbite is formed when there is a glitch in the space-time matrix, and fragments of raw information from the code dimension materialize in our reality, and collapse in a spherified, stabilized singularity. He states that Dwayne the monk told him this. At the end of the level, we see Great Ma, Grandma's grandma. She seems pretty badass. Even Kim mentions this. Also, here's where we get our first key. Keys are sometimes required to unlock a locked path. Simple enough. After a final fight, the level's complete. Kim's training is finished and she's ready to undergo her first task. In the next level, Grandma tasks Kim with a great and potentially dangerous task. Burn the bridge connecting the village to the mainland so evil can't invade the village. Grandma gives strict orders to come home as soon as the bridge is burnt. Kim, eager for adventure, sets out for the bridge. We meet the first actual enemy here, the zombie. Zombies have 2 health. I love it how the zombie says greens and not brains. Kim dispatches of the undead with ease. Performing a cross attack on a zombie will electrocute them. Kim's weapon must hold some great power to perform a feat as such. Making her way onto the bridge, Kim clears a path. This is the first real puzzle, I would say. Given the zombies move when you move, you have to plan strategically, sometimes darting out of the way, sometimes wiping out a few of the foes. Eventually victorious, Kim does as her grandma instructed, mostly. A large pile of heavy logs sit in the center of the bridge. Kim strikes the wood pile, setting it ablaze. Funnily enough, it's actually impossible to backtrack from this screen. Kim contemplates taking a peek at the other side of the bridge. In her thought, the bridge behind her burns bright. In an instant, the heavy wood pile busts through the burnt bridge. Kim's only way back, gone. Curiosity taking the best of her. Kim skates into the forest. Amongst the forest, Kim is surrounded by lush flora. Tall trees stand proudly around while small clearings are enclosed by rocks, flowers and bushes. Here, we meet the buttons. A button is pressed when Kim skates into it. If a path is closed off, buttons are required to be pushed in order to proceed. Up ahead lies a sign, reading, The Forest of Illusion. Kim remarks that Grandma used to come here and it was a real trip. Another sign remarks to use a map. Pressing tab will open the map. The map becomes wildly more useful as the game progresses. In the next room, Kim spots a stone statue. Standing near it, she reminisces upon a memory. This guy was a prophet. He realized that everything was a simulated game and spent the rest of his life thinking about it. Kim ponders if it really is a simulation. Up ahead, Kim spots a being sitting amongst a field of glowing mushrooms. The beaver, titled Mr. Beaver. He knows Kim's name already, knowing that it's Kim by her birthmark, the little heart on her cheek. Kim feels guilty about snooping around and going against what Grandma had said, but now she's stuck in the forest. Mr. Beaver reassures that everything happens for a reason. Then he gives a hint towards ancient shrines. Shrines built by the ancients. There are 6, maybe even 7. All bytes are used to unlock these shrines, and they will give powers to the one who completes them. Pretty cool. Thanks, Mr. Beaver. Up ahead, large pipes are seen, spewing out yellow toxic gunk. Seems to flow into the river nearby. Nasty. These belong to a large factory named Shikara Brainwashing and Robots Incorporated. Best to enter. Completing the stage, we're taken back to the overworld. The overworld I haven't really talked about, better now than never. The overworld is mostly a fun way to traverse between levels. It looks really nice actually. I enjoyed it a lot. But as Mr. Beaver said, there's shrines. The shrines are hidden amongst the overworld. Don't worry about trying to find them in a level. They're kind of hidden well sometimes. Completing a shrine will award you with a mystical item, being something of great power. Usually, it's a small item that can help you out in a pinch, ranging from a healing item to an offensive item. You could potentially complete the game without the shrines items, but I would highly recommend you grab them, as some are pretty handy. There are 7 shrines in total. However, until you win the final level, there's only 6 shrines accessible. Onto the next level inside of Shikara Brainwashing and Zombies Incorporated. A few zombies wait in the lobby. With some fancy footwork, Kim dispatches of them. Making her way into the next room, she's greeted with a robot guard. These cleaver-wielding robots have 2 health and a protective shield, so technically 3 health. This shield must be destroyed in order to defeat the robot guards. With the robot turned to scrap metal, Kim inspects the large orange vats closer. They seem to be incubation tubes, housing zombies. Further in is the first button puzzle. These buttons must be pressed in the right order, or else they will reset if pushed in the wrong order. The button puzzles are trial and error really, but are pretty straightforward a majority of the time. After the puzzle is a large door with the word boss on a gold plate stuck on the door. Entering the room, Kim's greeted with this large horned fellow. His name is the Cyber Lich. With some back and forth between him and Kim, a fight starts. Slamming his hands on the desk, he summons a group of zombie guards. Defeating each wave of guards will make Cyber Lich's phone ring. He answers it. In turn, This gives Kim a chance to wail on him. She slices through him. Enraged, he summons more guards. I almost got my ass handed to me during this boss fight. I would like to mention too that I love the office here, with the little details like the golf putter set in the corner, and the picture of the Cyberlich framed in gold on the wall behind him. With the second last strike, he's had enough. The Cyberlich pulls out a machete, determined to put a stop to Kim. Of course, she has other plans. Shielded, the Cyberlich won't go down easily. Maneuvering around the room, Kim takes out his shield and lands a final blow. Defeated. His robot guards deactivate. The final room houses a pool table, large sacks of cash, and a large monitoring console. Kim destroys the console, the destruction summoning some robot guards. Taken away, Kim wakes up in jail, her weapon gone. Without her weapon, Kim is defenseless. Her mobility is her best tool in this situation. Thankfully, there are only a few enemies littered around the third floor for the most part, mostly robot guards on sentry duty. Here is where we're introduced to the sliding blocks. The sliding blocks are a neat little addition to add challenge. Kim can punch them or push them with her weapon. They can be maneuvered around to give access to areas that wouldn't be accessible otherwise. Thankfully for Kim, her weapon isn't too far away. Sneaking around, she finds where it's hidden, being stashed in a broom closet. Picking it up, her health is restored, the weapon seeming to give her power. Managing to get onto the balcony, she peers over the ledge. A large bright sign on the side of the building. It reads, Tartarus, private incarceration, no vacancies. Snooping around, Kim finds the stairs to the second floor. Down here there's more resistance than on the third floor. Entering the room, she's greeted with 5 robot guards. At least their meat cleavers kinda make sense here, given it looks like a kitchen. The second floor of the building seems like a dining hall mixed with a kitchen, given all the dirty meal trays littered about. Up ahead is a button puzzle in the security room, and a key. With some resistance, she makes it to ground level, Kim having stormed through the jail like wildfire. Near the end there's a small puzzle. This puzzle actually had me stumped for a while. Eventually I realised the solution was easy enough and I was overthinking it, but I was stuck on that for far too long. 2 robots guard the exit. With the exit to this place in sight, Kim destroys the guards, leaving Tartarus jail for good. Outside, Kim makes her way up to the train station, wanting to board the train so she can get back home, feeling guilty for being gone for so long. You may notice Kim has a shield now. This is a blessing from one of the shrines. She has a free shield that blocks 1 attack. Kim boards the train. Inside, she's got an unfortunate greeting. Here she meets a new type of enemy, the zombie soldier. They have 2 health, just like their counterpart, the zombie, but they wield a spike club. This allows them to deal double damage, dealing 4 damage instead of the normal 2 damage the zombies inflict. The zombie soldiers hit hard and shouldn't be messed with. In total, there's 10 carriages on the train. Kim jumping from one carriage to the next, wiping out countless zombies and carving a path on the zombie express. Eventually she comes to the final carriage. After a long series of fights, the final carriage is cleared. As she goes to leave, she hears something in the adjoining coach. Peering in, she spots a bunch of zombies, small and large ones, and a man dressed in some odd robes. She's unsure of who he is, but he mentions mother. Kim unsure of what to think, wonders if this mother he speaks of is her mother. This is soon confirmed as he remarks that mother's bratty daughter has been wandering around one of the brainwashing facilities. The man, talking about Kim. Distraught, she storms off a train, the goal of finding her mother in mind. She's determined to finish this. Outside at the train station, Kim's met with a surprise. Mr. Beaver. He's all the way from the forest, seemingly waiting for Kim. He questions why Kim isn't at home, already knowing the reason is her mother. Before saying his goodbyes, he gives a hint that there are shrines nearby if we have missed any. Down the road from the train station, Kim winds up at a cemetery, seeming this may be where the strange man is located. Just inside the cemetery, there's a large billboard with a priest painted onto it, Montgomery's Salvation Center, 50% off everything. Ooh, if this guy weren't a sham, that discount might be nice. Storming the gardens, Kim is met with a new enemy, the zombie brute. These large undead beings have 4 health. They take a hell of a beating to pull them down. Kim manages to cut them to ribbons with ease, her blade too strong for their might. A nearby room is the pet cemetery. This is a nice little tribute to some of the developers' deceased pets. It's heartwarming that they wanted to immortalize their fluffy companions in this game. It adds a delicate touch, and takes a lot of courage to want to do that. I hope your fluffy friends have a peaceful slumber. Up ahead is an entrance to an underground area. Down here, molten magma flows past and underneath the pathways. seeming this place is situated in an active volcano zone. This series of volcanic tunnels does lead up into the large church. Inside, it's seen this Montgomery guy poses as a man of faith, but is nothing of the sort, more of a cult leader than a faithful man. Deeper in, we're met with these purple phantoms. The phantoms cannot be harmed by a dash slash attack, they can only be harmed by the cross slash. If Kim charges at them, she will simply phase straight through them. Thankfully, they only have 1 health. After a long fight, Kim finds herself in the mass hall of the priest. Montgomery stands in this hall, telling Kim to go away. However, she does not want to leave without answers, or without taking him down. He reveals his true form, Montgomery being a lizard man, the reptilian Grand Deputy of the Order of the Polygon. He summons in some zombie troops. The first wave are dispatched with ease. With all of them defeated, an electrical device in the center lights up. Thumping it, it shoots out a bolt of lightning, zapping Monty. In retaliation, he summons a series of purple crystals. The screens light up, reading 10. This indicates how many moves Kim has before he attacks. If all crystals are destroyed before the counter strikes 0, his attack will fail. But if a single crystal stands, he will strike, doing 2 damage to Kim. Wave after wave of his minions fall, and his crystals are shattered. With his final slither of strength, he gives in, telling Kim what she wants to know. Monty reveals that Kim's mother is at the city. The best path there is the sewers. Thinking he'd be given mercy, Kim has other plans. Skating out of the macabre cemetery, Kim wakes her way to the sewers. A sign above the sewers reads, Krang's grimy sewage. Ew, thanks Krang. The entrance to the sewers is guarded, thankfully not heavily guarded. Inside, Kim discovers a new enemy type, the slime. These goopy creatures are failed test subjects, seemingly dumped into the sewage system and winding up littered throughout the place. They will never be defeated. The slime has 1 health. When defeated, it will dissolve into a patch of goop. After 5 turns, it will regenerate. Nasty little things they are. They deal 2 damage if they strike Kim. The sewers are a maze of pipes and tight corridors, filled with slimes. The main area of the sewers houses a long button puzzle. One of the doors is locked, and must be unlocked by 4 buttons, but these buttons are blocked off and meet up after long paths are joining together. Also, a new enemy is met. Again, the zombie ninja. These guys have 2 health, but they're invisible. They are seen briefly when they move between spaces. There's only a handful of them here in the sewers. Why they're here is a mystery though. They attack with large metal claws, striking Kim and dealing 5 damage. 2 attacks from these guys will wipe her out. In some parts of the sewers, the thick green rivers of goop flow beneath walkways, the culmination of filth and grit flooding the nasty place. Eventually, throughout the maze of pipes and sewage, a large metal door can be found, having the same symbol that Montgomery had on his staff, the Order of the Polygon. Inside houses a few interactables. The first is a desk with an old computer. Oddly enough, a picture of Kim sits in a photo frame. The frame and picture, old and worn. Maybe Kim's mother was kept here. The large green vats can be looked at, Kim commenting on how she could smash them all day. Seems the slimes are made here for an experiment. Papers on the wall give more information towards these slimes, being codenamed Blobby. They seem to be an experiment in immortality, being impossible to terminate them. The whiteboard in the corner houses some information, seeming to document that data crystals can be mined for raw materials and injected into living beings to keep their simulations running forever. In other words, an immortality project. Further into the sewers, Kim finds her way into a dead end, until she finds a secret entrance. Here, we meet the final enemy type, the Sentry Bot. This little menace is like playing chess with the smart kid. It's hard to predict, and it will always know where you go. Somehow manages to get you into situations where you'll take damage regardless of where you are. The Sentry Bot is the only ranged enemy type. If its lasers spot Kim, it will attack, dealing 3 damage. The only way to take these bots out without being hurt yourself is with the stun ability, granted by one of the shrines, or by hitting them with a cross slash after catching them on a corner. Deeper in, there seems to be an underwater sea lab. This sea lab is an absolute maze. It's quite mind-boggling at times. It's not overly big, but the puzzles it offers can twist your brains in ways you didn't know possible. There's plentiful blocks to move about, mostly on tracks. They cannot be moved off of their path. Mr. Beaver can be found down here too, oddly enough. Why? I'm unsure, but he questions what Kim is doing. She responds, saying she's on her way to the city to look for Mum. Before giving his goodbye, he once again gives Kim some hints that there is a few shrines located nearby in the overworld, hinting that she may need them. Kim finds her way to an area that's off limits. Entering, the red lights flash and blare around, giving the signal that perhaps she really shouldn't be here. After a series of tough fights, Kim's made it. A large yellow hatch-sealed door lies at the end of the room. Pressing all the buttons that lead to it, she goes to open the door, only to find she can't breathe. Gas pours in from the vents. Falling unconscious, the last thing she hears is a laugh. She wakes up in a random part of the city, her weapon gone. Similar to her brief time in jail, Kim is defenseless and must maneuver around any enemies, rather than taking them head on. Out of the courtyard she awoke in, Kim encounters a new threat, a bomb. The bomb has a timer on it. Each move you make will decrease the timer's count by 1. Running into the bomb will blow it up immediately, dealing 6 damage. When the timer reaches 0, it explodes. It will damage anything in a large plus pattern, spanning the whole field of play. The bombs are quite dangerous. However, in this segment where Kim is defenseless, she has to play chicken around the bombs, using them to blow up zombies scattered around the dilapidated streets. This segment is actually quite frustrating, given the puzzle is about avoidance, not defense like usual. It can be very tough, especially considering it's not indicated or shown that the bombs will hurt anything in a plus pattern around them. Down the road, we're taunted with the Guandao, our trusty weapon just out of reach. To be reunited with the weapon, Kim must traverse through a gambling store. This place has a few zombies roaming around, doing their best to block Kim in, and can more than easily do so. Eventually, she moves around them with some fancy footwork. At last, Kim's reunited with her weapon. Storming inside, it feels liberating to cut the zombies into ribbons. They felt so imposing and threatening when you have no weapons, but once the Guandao is in hand, they stand no chance. Going back to the courtyard where Kim awoke, there's a pathway just below, leading to a small path through the park. A few fights later, and Kim finds herself looking at a large building. Inside, it's dark, sterile. The Order of the Polygon sign is plastered on the wall. This is their headquarters. Searching around the dark building, she eventually finds her way to an elevator. Skating inside, she rides up. On the way, Kim contemplates what exactly she's doing. She's an 8-year-old girl. She's made to do so much, but her journey isn't over yet. She regains her composure. The elevator stops, reaching its destination, the penthouse. And look at that, it's a Cyberlich. It felt like an eternity since we last saw him. The penthouse is a maze of tricks and traps, filled to the brim with zombies, sentry bots, and even dangerous turrets. This place is no cakewalk. The turrets are pretty deadly. They shoot in 2 directions at the same time. One shot is up and down, the other shot is left and right. With one move, they prime. With the second move, they shoot in whichever directions the barrels are pointed. They deal 4 damage if they hit Kim, but they can be used to take out enemies as well. Your misfortune is their downfall. Use it to your advantage. After a series of confusing corridors, dodging turret lasers, slicing and dicing, Kim is met with a lone door. Inside, a familiar figure stands in front of a large keyboard. The one who started this quest, and the one who seeks destruction, Mother. Kim's mother felt life at the village was boring. She wanted more. Something in the city called to her, and she answered the call. A call to arms. A call for a host. Kim's mother succumbed to the grasp of evil, becoming the Grand Master of the Order of the Polygon. Kim, her mother's counterpart, her daughter, stands before her. Kim doesn't know what to make of this, but she has no choice. The fight with Mother is very tough. She sends out waves of enemies, followed up by a tough bomb dodging segment. When a wave is defeated, Kim runs up to the consoles, slashing at them. This shocks her mother. After a few waves, she will summon a wave of buttons. They must all be pressed within 10 moves, or else the floor will rise to life with fire, immediately defeating Kim. The first segment to the button diffuser was very tough. It requires 10 precise movements. This one I was stuck on for quite a while, but I wanted to see it through. Mother yells at Kim that she can't change the outcome of fate. In a final stance of triumphance, Kim slashes at the console, yelling out that reality is what you make of it. With a bright flash, Mother's scepter is busted. She falls to the floor, utterly confused. She looks over, recognizing that girl. After nearly 8 long years of being possessed by evil, she's finally free. Having missed so much of her daughter's life, looking at the girl standing before her, she's proud of her daughter. After a long trip home, the family is reunited. Kim, her mother, and Grandma. Grandma's happy to see Kim, but wants to give her a stern talking. Instead, she has to tell Kim something. All along, Grandma knew Kim would cross over that bridge. It was her calling, to disobey Grandma, stop evil, and rescue her mother. Kim admits she didn't exactly resist temptation, but is confused what Grandma says. Grandma asks Kim to come with her, having a surprise to show. A large statue of Kim stands proudly in the courtyard. Just like Great Ma's statue stood, Kim, the new village warrior. Mother and Grandma are proud of Kim. After such a long journey, Kim just wants to relax, but Grandma asks for one more favour. A family photo. Everyone say Keen. Aw, they look adorable. Wow, this was a really fun game. I enjoyed Keen a lot. It was sometimes a tough and frustrating game, but truth be told, I'm very happy I played it. The story was awesome, and the visuals are outstanding. Don't go away yet, there's more. I'll complete this game, even if it ends me. As the credits end, the box in the final courtyard of the overworld disappears, revealing the final secret path. This leads to the secret 7th shrine Mr. Beaver spoke about earlier on in the story. This is the Shrine of Completeness. It requires 55 ore bites to unlock. There is 55 ore bites in this game. Truth be told, I was unsure if I would undergo this task, as mostly it was to complete a majority of the levels without taking damage. That sounds tough, but I had a go at it. In the first stages there is a few ore bites I missed, bonus ones that slipped under my nose. In the training dojo, there was a secret ore bite, with the CatNigiri mascot there. A nice Easter egg. I wonder if this is going to be used later. The second secret is actually near the farmer guy from the start. He mentions that an ore bite is nearby. Of course, there's one tucked away in the farmer's market. The end of the first level was nice. The statue of Great Ma is replaced with the statue of Kim. It looks very good. The Forest of Illusion was my next task. This was very well hidden. After a while of searching, the secret ore bite is on a path that's so well concealed I almost missed it after going along this path multiple times. Very nice. My third task was the jail. Here I had to kill all enemies. An easy task really. Done and dusted. Onto the Zombie Express. Here I only had to kill all enemies without taking any damage. With some finesse, I managed to pull it off. Now was on to Monty's Church of Lizardry. There were a few ones I needed here. One for killing all enemies, and one for collecting all ore bites. The ore bites were very well hidden actually. One was hidden with another in a secret vault. Very nice. I got to mess up Monty again too. This time I managed to do it without taking any damage. Got a secret achievement. Yummers. 50 ore bites. Nearly there. Now on to the last few levels. This'll be tough. Sewer skating. I only had to do this without receiving no damage. Easier said than done. The slimes made this tough. Very tough. These regenerating bastards made the no damage run into a chore. At the very least, the checkpoints replenish your abilities and your shield, which is nice. Next onto the Sea Lab. The Sea Lab is a pretty short level overall. It's the difficulty that makes it intense. This one was to be done damageless and to find a secret ore bite. The star of the Sea Lab is the Sentry Bot. This thing is annoying. Straight up, I would kick this thing into the water and watch it short circuit. It's not a fun enemy. Outsmarting these things is very fun, but they're also pretty smart. It made this tough. I persevered eventually, and even found this cool secret. The final level. 54 ore bites, and I'm nearly done. Let's do this. This level is tough. Like, really tough. Minimal checkpoints, laser turrets. It sucks to do it without taking damage. Eventually, there's the boss door, and I forgot to record the fight. The boss fight took me an hour to complete without taking damage. I'll just say that it was a slog. But hey, proof. I got all 55 ore bites. Let's go to that secret 7th shrine. Inside is a button puzzle. There's 19 buttons. You must press them in the exact order or the sequence will reset. I have to say, whoever thought this was good, you're funny. Like, really funny. I struggled to finish this after the hour-long boss fight, but I managed in the end. I was awarded with a crystal cat. The kitten suit in particular. Its power allows you to talk to cats. Ooh, I know where there's a cat. Come on, let's go down into the first level. Shut up, Grandma, there's important stuff to do. We sneak into a secret location and... yes, the sushi cat. Kim talks to the cat and is surprised. He tells her that this reality she is in is not what she thinks it is. Kim's world is just one dimension of many, no more than an illusion. Everything is a computational simulation from the third dimension. The third dimension is inhabited and ruled by cats. This looks trippy. Kim's dimension is an illusion, something that was hinted towards for the entire game. After some exposition, this lovely cat breaks the fourth wall. Then he gives his thanks for beating the game to 100% completion, remarking that he doesn't understand achievements, but to enjoy the momentary sense of accomplishment. Thanks, mate. Overall, Keen the One Girl Army is a great game. A challenging, addictive, and fun puzzle game with a great art style. I feel it was very fun, but 100%ing this game was hard. Very hard. Near the end, I felt my want to enjoy this game slipping away, as completionism goes, of course. It can change a game from fun to unfun in a heartbeat. That said, I would highly recommend Keen the One Girl Army. It's a delightfully challenging puzzle game. Plus, CatNigiri, I would like to see them make more games. So if you want to check this out, go check it out. It's on Steam for pretty cheap. On top of this, I would like to thank Tsuyoiii for drawing CinnaBunny. I wanted a PNG tuber model of CinnaBunny, and just some good art of him overall. What better to do than to get a great artist to do it? Tsuyoiii, they're a great artist. Caring, kind, and wonderful. I'll link their Etsy below if you would like to check them out. For now though, this has been Keen the One Girl Army. I've been CinnaBunny, and I'll catch you later, mate.